Let's get spicy today. Welcome back to the Four Seasons. I'm your host, Ken Johnson, and today we're doing a metheglin. If you've never heard of a metheglin, it is a spiced mead. It is one of the first meads.
For our Hydra Glen, which is a hydromel metheglin, or metheglin as I say it. What we're going to start off with is a half tablespoon of my McCormick's peppercorn medley grinder. So there it is. I use this all the time. I'm sure you've seen it if you watch my videos, but just in case you haven't, it is black peppercorns, coriander, pink peppercorns, white peppercorns, allspice, and green peppercorns. So this McCormick peppercorn medley grinder, we're using a half tablespoon. To that I'm using 1 tablespoon of red tea or rooibos. It's a South African tea. Red tea's got all kind of health benefits, but it's also got wonderful, wonderful, wonderful flavor. And I measured this out just to show people so they know this is 40 Badia brand allspice berries. So if you use Badia brand or use a brand that has allspice berries roughly the size of Badia, that's roughly 40 berries is a tablespoon. Now I'm going to crush these up in the mortar and pestle now that I've shown you how much 40 berries really is. Now they're roughly crushed, I'll put these in. I've got 10 green cardamom pods that I'm going to crush up now. Now I'm going to crush up 2 star anise. Next is 2 cloves. I have half of a satsuma orange peel dehydrated, so I'll tear these up into small pieces. Next I have a half tablespoon of McCormick's organic caraway seed. Now we're going to crush that up into the mortar and pestle. This right here is called asafoetida. One of the names for it, a nickname for it besides asafoetida, or in the Ayurvedic cooking it's also called hinge. But one of the other nicknames for it is devil's dung. And I cannot overemphasize, do not use a lot of this. This right here smells to high heaven. It is horrible smelling. It only takes a pinch. So I'm going to do a pinch. This right here is a teaspoon of Sour's ground nutmeg. Now I'm going to pour in 1.5 cups of white rum. This is just plain old Bacardi white. Actually, I was about 2 ounces over in pouring that, so just bring it up to the level on your jar. I didn't have a regular quart mason jar. This is some jar from when I was doing honey. Okay, so it's lidded. Now all we'll do is shake it up every 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, a lot of this will settle, all the flavors will be extracted, and I'll show you the next step. Well, the Hydra Glen is probably going to be the easiest of the Hydras we ever do. And the reason why is because we've already done the tincture, or the extract, or whatever you want to call it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a 1.5 tablespoons of this extract and see how it tastes. I'll probably go up to 3 tablespoons. I'm thinking I probably need 3 tablespoons. We'll taste it, adjust for back sweetening, and bottle. It's just that simple. There'll be a little bit acid and tannin adjustment probably, but you know, the normal pre-bottling procedure. So I don't think we might have to do tannin because a lot of these spices already have tannin, so maybe some acid adjusting. Not that much because it's got orange peel in it. I think that's going to come through. If we do, it'll just be a 1/4 teaspoon. This is going to be super easy because we're only using 3 quarts of our pre-made Hydromel based solutions. We're using the Hydromel as a mother for all our brews. So in this case, we're adding our tincture or extract to basically the mother and treating it as a finished product. Super simple. Okay, I actually had to do 8 tablespoons. I was way off on my calculation there. Because I want this to taste more like a beer, what I'm going to do is put about 12 tablespoons of erythritol. 12 is what I use with my Hydromel. Of course, the Hydromel that our Hydra-Mel that we did for the base has not been sweetened. So I'm going to sweeten it like I did with my original Hydromel series. I used 12 tablespoons if I remember right in that brew, so I'll use 12 tablespoons here. Okay, so last scoop is going in, and so this will stir. You'll basically have to stir until all the granules of the erythritol are brought or dissolved. That will take a little while, so just bear with me. I'll be back in just a second, and then we'll go to the acid and also go into the any type of tannin powder. I'm still contemplating whether or not I want to do tannin powder. Thinking not, but maybe. And then after we do all that, then we'll do the bottling and go from there. So be with you in a second. Actually, I'm using 2 more tablespoons of this. It just did not have the pop that I was wanting. Of course, I'm using a different brand of erythritol, so maybe that has something to do with it, or maybe it's just the spices, but for some reason this is not up to that beer level sweetness that I want. I'm just trying to get to beer level. So we'll see how this goes. I may have to add some more. I'm adding 2 more for a total of 16. It still is not there. I don't want to be sickeningly sweet, but it needs a little bit of sweetness for these spices, because spices are a little harsh. I mean, I don't have it like overly spiced, don't get me wrong. I mean, they're barely in the background. In fact, I'll probably add a few more tablespoons of spice to this, because it just is not there either. But we'll see how this tastes in just a minute. I will say this, the acid and the astringency are kicking in the more I put sugar into it, but the flavor of the spices is going away. So what I am doing, this is 4 more tablespoons of my spice mixture. I think that is going to be what I'm looking for. And we'll give it a try and see how that tastes. So all I'll do is stir this up real quick and put it into my sampler. And if it's what I think it is, then we'll go from there. That's why you make a little bit extra on your spice extracts. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Needs a little bit more sweetness. I can't believe that. It needs more sweetness. So we're going to add in, I'm going to say 4 more tablespoons of this, so be right back. Alright, so this is definitely astringent now because of the spices, which I kind of worried about that. Extremely astringent. The sourness or the acid level is there from the oranges. There is that acid in there, which historically the use of citrus was for the skins brought acidity into the brews, that they knew about acid and tannin, and they knew about a lot of the stuff that we talk about today. They knew about yeast nutrients. I think this needs more sugar, or not sugar, but erythritol. So I'm going to add another 4 more tablespoons to this. Alright, 4 more tablespoons have been added. Now I'm just stirring it in. Normally I like to show the last spoonful in the shot, but I forgot that. So I just was making meat at this point. I zoned out. This is what I used to do for therapy. I would come home, I worked for the government. And if you've ever worked for a government, that is soul-sucking work. It is a broken system, and it's filled with broken people and management that really shouldn't be in management. So I would come in every day, and this is how I decompressed. This was my mental health, and I would play with alcohol. Everybody needs something. I know a lawyer that he raises Santa Gertrudis cattle, which is a special breed that's part longhorn, part shorthorn, and he just goes out and plays with the cattle to keep his sanity. And so you need to have something like this. And you know, we talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but creativity and work, that you need to have something besides the work you're doing for your job. We spend so much time at our places of business and away from things that help our mental health. And so you need to have something. And this has been something culturally around for years and years and years, going back to dawn of mankind. People painted, people drew, people crafted, people did all sorts of stuff that was beyond meeting needs. You do not need mead in your life. Not for your own health and well-being. We no longer need it for medicine. That's what mead started out for. But sometimes you need it for your mental health, which is a totally different matter. So if you do it for no other purpose than just to decompress, it's not a bad hobby to pick up. We're going to give this a taste. I've been washing out my cup and then also drinking a glass of water each time I've been doing this. So let's see how this tastes. I think that's pretty near perfect. So what we'll do now, we're going to go to the bottling stage. Okay, so we got 8 bottles here. Next thing we need to do is to carbonate them, and for that I'm going to use carbonation drops. Like so many things right now, the prices of these are going through the roof. You could definitely do the equivalent of a teaspoon per bottle of sugar. You could do that, but I like these measured, so you may see me using a different brand later on. ASMR action going on right there with this crackling bag. But we're going to put this into all of the bottles. If you notice, I've got one bottle that's different from the others, and that is this bottle right here. It has a swing top. It's Grolsch. What happened was I saw 4 of these bottles in the grocery store section where the beer is kept. I was like, hey, look, I got some swing top bottles I could buy, and it comes with free beer. After trying the beer, I wish I just went on Amazon and bought the bottles. That was some nasty stuff. But the bottles are really, really good quality. So I love the bottles. I'm gonna go ahead and use the green one right here for my taster. The rest of these I'm gonna cap. I won't show you that process. But I will show you my capper and everything like I normally do, so you can see that. Alright, the caps are on all the bottles. This is the capper I use here. Just has these little handles. And I'm going to go ahead and get these seated onto the bottles. And then for the green one, the little swing top bottle here, it's really, really, really easy. All you do is set it on your bottle like here, and then you just press down. So there you go, that's seated. And so that's ready to go. I'll get these others done. I really like these bottles. This is worth the investment if you're going to do this long term. Again, I'm trying to do a lot of this like a home brewer would do. Not somebody who's been doing it for years and years and years and has a YouTube channel and does crazy stuff all the time. So I literally went to the grocery store, drank 4 bottles of this gross beer just for the bottles so that I could have me a taster and see if this carbonated better than this. I'm thinking that I'm having a seeding issue and not a yeast strain issue. But we're going to find out. Alrighty now. So this is my Hydroglyn, because it's a metheglin, or metheglin as some people say. So what I'll do is I will put these in containers to keep them safe. I'll mark them. From there, then we'll go ahead and I'll mark this. We'll let these set for about, I don't know, 10 to 12 days, 14 days. The way things go in my life, it could be 2 months, who knows. But we'll let them sit, carbonate, and then do a tasting. So I'll see you then.
I hope you enjoyed that part of the video where you're learning about how we made this drink right here. And as you saw, I did a slow motion clip of me pouring this drink. I'm using these swing top bottles. It's a type of beer called Grolsch, I believe it is. It's gross. Trust me, it is gross. It is nasty. I do not like the beer, but I do like the bottles. And so I've been reusing the bottles. I didn't drink directly from the bottle. I sterilized everything after I got done with it, cleaned everything. Only pour from them. And I had effervescence for the first time, and I don't know when. I am so tickled. Glass clear. You can't see it because of the condensation, because I had it in the refrigerator, because I like these beverages cold. But man, it is, I can see the bottle. I can see through, if I can flip this, the water off here, I can see the camera through this glass. It is gem quality. It's got a light straw color to it. So it's a very light color, not very pronounced. Got bubbles everywhere. I'll take a sniff real quick because first part of tasting is your nose. And just talking right now, I got a whiff of it. And immediately, without me even trying to smell it, I got spices and orange. So let's try it. Oh man, spice and orange. That is what you're hit with. Spice and orange. And it's those warm cooking spices. There's a hint of asafoetida that I put in here. If you've never used asafoetida, one of the names for it is devil's dung, because it smells like feces. And you think, now why do you want that? Well, in our brains, some of that barnyardy smells and taste actually translates into true, genuine. So by taking this and put a little bit of that little funk in there, it actually enhances the flavors and makes the flavors more desirable than if you just let the flavors alone. You don't have to do asafoetida. I found some very affordably on Amazon. It's also called hinge. In Indian cooking, it is a secret in a lot of Indian dishes. I use it in cooking for anything from gumbos to stews to you name it. It is one that I gag every time I open up the container. I use just a small amount of it. But man, you put it with a little alcohol and like chicken or fish or even pork, it just makes things go nuts. And that's just awesome. So I'm thinking it's going to make this taste even better. So let's give it a try. It's rare to brew something that tastes like it smells. This almost tastes like it smells. Got that effervescence. And there's some astringency. The sides, back of your tongue, sides of your tongue. That gripping, almost cleansing taste. It's from the spices. Spices have a lot of astringency, so I don't look at my recipes before I do these tastings, and that way I can be genuine with how things taste. So if I remember something, or I think I remember something, I say it wrong, I'll try to correct it. I knew I put asafoetida in because it's just a great spice for something to put in this. I know I put orange in. I believe I put clove, and I believe I put allspice, but I don't know what else. I might have put nutmeg, I don't know. So I mean, I legitimately, really do not look at my recipe. Because you got that variation, you got a warming spices note. First drink, the citrus note. It's not orange, and it turns into orange. And then you get those warming notes and that stringency. That stringency just hits. That's very fast. So faster than what I could speak, you got that. And then it stays for a very long time, and it gets sweeter and more mellow and sweeter, and then it mellows out even more and just kind of lightly fades away. And it'll be gone about gone now. So it doesn't last that long, but it's really got a good taste. There's a little bite, that little bit of acid. I don't know where the acid's coming from. I didn't put any acid in, but it's got just a little hint of acid that gets you right on the tongue. That's where I feel it. Anytime I do acid, right there where them salivary glands are, that's where acid hits me. And I can feel it. I'm like, it makes your mouth water. And then you got that other on the side that kind of cleanses the astringency from the tannin. And so that sweetness just carries all these flavors, and you go on a ride. Your whole mouth is woke up by this. Now, there's some people who just don't like spices, but like, if you like beer, because gallberry honey is what I'm using in this series, I would probably use Tupelo honey next time. Tupelo honey has a berry-like flavor. Another one that you could use is sourwood. Now, sourwood honey, the apiaries I've talked with said that true sourwood honey is clear, but it's not normally clear. It's hard to get clear sourwood. Normally it's honeycomb, which is that kind of between straw and brown, that kind of gold color that honey is known for. Well, the reason for that, as they tell me, is sumac. In the Cherokee community, sumac is widely known and widely used. Sumac has a citrusy note. So sourwood honeys that you normally get that have some of that, I guess, sumac in there with it will have deep citrus notes. That would be really good with that. So definitely sumac honey, sourwood honey, that would be good. Tupelo honey is more fruity, and I think some fruity notes would be really good, like almost a berry-like flavor would go very well with this. But this is gallberry, and gallberry has some of the flavor profiles of beer. That's the reason why I wanted to use this. A hydromel is the great-great-great-great-grandfather of beer. And so a lot of what beer makers or brewers use came from this. And so I just wanted to show how you do different things. So this has a pronounced beer-like flavor. So if you did something, and I'm talking about contemporary beer, you know, the hops and all that, you get that from gallberry. Gallberry has all that in it. That's the reason why my wife does not like this series. Every time I've given her a taste of it, she gags, she says it tastes just like beer. Well, that's the gallberry honey. She don't like beer, so she definitely wouldn't like it. But you do get a beer flavor. You get that strong citrus flavor and those warming notes. It'd almost be like if a beer company lost their mind and decided to do a Christmas beer with cooking spices like pumpkin pie spices or apple pie spices with a little bit of orange thrown in. That's how this tastes, which I like that. And if you like pumpkin pie spices, apple pie spices, if you like, you know, citrus, if you like beer, then this is your drink. This is right up your alley. So again, I would do this probably with Tupelo. If you can find sumac honey, that would be great. I've never tried fireweed honey, but some people say fireweed honey would be something that might be good with this. Sourwood honey would be great. I would try those. I think that's the only thing keeping it from being a 10 right now. I think that it needs a different honey in it. The beer notes of the gallberry are almost detracting from what this could be. So a lot of mead makers just, you see them on YouTube and they'll say, throw in a honey. And I've even seen these big channels say, it doesn't matter what type of honey. I'm like, what are you saying? Honey matters as much, if not more, than any other component. If the honey you're putting in your brew does not matter, then why are you making mead? Just put sugar in and make a wine. Why are you putting all that extra cost into very expensive honey for it not to matter? It is a key flavoring ingredient. In this case, I think that the beer-like notes of the gallberry is detracting a little bit. I think it's causing a little bit of problem. And so that is keeping this from being a 10. It's only a 9. I think this is the highest I've ever given one of my brews. The reason why? The swing top bottles do better than the cap bottles. So I've been able to keep the effervescence that I was losing in my cap bottles. I thought it was probably due to some sort of yeast fatigue. And then somebody said it may be the caps. And so I've been racking my brains trying to figure out why this isn't working the way it should. Well, it was the caps. So using swing top bottles, which is actually banned in most mead competitions. So that's a shame. So I'm still going to have to use cappers if I'm going to enter competition. But swing top bottles definitely need to be used if you're using it for home consumption. I wouldn't use a capper. If you got bottles in a quart, that would work, but you probably need to have a harness system in place and use the champagne method. That's a pain in the butt. I just wouldn't do that. Swing top bottles are the way to go. Somebody recommended them, and I strongly suggest them now. But this right here, definitely a 9 out of 10. I would have to try this again with either Tupelo honey or sourweed honey if I could find fireweed honey. Try it with those and just, I wouldn't hurt just to try a little bit of each one and do a comparison. And if you want to see that, reach out in the comments and tell me. Let me know. And if you want me to try something, put it in the comments. I'll answer any questions you have. I will answer. I love comments, and I try to respond to everybody that does make a comment, just as much as I love it when you share a video, because we need to grow this channel. But I'm going to stop rambling now. This is a good drink. I'm going to finish up my drink, and I hope that you try this at home. I think you'll be glad that you did. Like this video, subscribe if you hadn't already subscribed, hit that notification bell so you get notified of future content, and I will see you again next time. Bye.